Let us take a moment to sit down and talk about something very important. Imagine for a second that you're driving through your own neighborhood. This is the place where you live, where you know the trees, the houses, and the people who walk their dogs every morning. You feel safe here because it is home. But then you see a large white car following you. You feel a little bit worried, so you do something very simple. You press your hand against your car's horn. You do this to let your neighbors know that something strange is happening. You're trying to look out for one another. This is something people in many communities have done for a long time to keep each other safe. You're not breaking any laws. You're just being a careful neighbor. But in just a few heartbeats, your life changes forever. People who are supposed to protect everyone decided to be very aggressive instead. I want to tell you the story of a kind woman named Marimar Martinez. Marimar is 30 years old. She's a teacher's assistant at a Montessori school. That means she spends her whole day helping little children learn how to be kind and how to explore the world. She is a daughter and a friend. But on a morning in October of 2025, the government decided to call her something very scary. They called her a domestic terrorist. I am someone who cares deeply about justice and the truth. Today, I want to show you the videos that the government tried to keep secret for a very long time. We are going to look at what really happened on those streets in Chicago. This is more than just a legal case. It is a story about what happens when the people we trust to keep us safe decide to use violence before they even try to talk. Let us look at a place called Brighton Park. It is a neighborhood where people work very hard every day. On the morning of October 4th, some agents from the Border Patrol were driving around in a white Chevy Tahoe. They were part of a group called Operation Midway Blitz. Marimar, who was born in this country and is a citizen just like many of us, was driving through her own streets. When she saw the agents, she honked her horn. She was using her right to speak up, which is a very special rule in our country called the First Amendment. This rule says you can say what you think and warn others if you see something concerning. It is not a crime, and it has never been a crime. But look at what the agents did when she used her rights. They were already holding their guns inside their car while they were just driving through a place where families live. Why is this so important? Well, the highest court in our land says that a police officer can only use a gun if they are truly afraid that someone is going to hurt them or someone else very badly. They have to show that any other person in that same spot would have felt the same way. But in this video, we see the agents holding their guns before anything even happened. It looks like they were not trying to stop trouble. It looks like they were looking for it. One agent, a man named Charles Exum, was the one who fired the shots. He was not even wearing his body camera, but we can see what happened from a camera worn by another agent in the car. We can hear them talking. They did not talk about being calm or asking questions. They said it was time to get aggressive. They did not try to stay back or wait for help. They went straight to being violent. Later on, the government told a story in court. They said that Marimar hit their car with hers on purpose. They said she was the one who started the fight. But when we look at the video very slowly, we see something different. You can see Agent Exum's hands on the steering wheel. He turns the wheel very hard to the left, right toward Marimar's car. He was the one who made the cars hit each other. It was a plan, not an accident. And that hit was the only reason they gave for shooting at her. They fired 5 bullets into her car while she was just sitting there. It is a miracle that she survived those shots. She was able to drive to a shop nearby where people could help her. But getting better from the bullets was only the start of her hard journey. The government tried to say she was the bad person. They charged her with a crime for supposedly attacking the agents. And then they did something that should make us all very worried. They called her a domestic terrorist. She did not have a weapon. She had never been in trouble with the law. She was just a teacher. After the shooting, you might think the agents would feel very sad about what happened. But Agent Exum sent text messages to his friends and bragged about it. He talked about how many holes he put in her. He laughed and said he was ready to do it again. When someone uses a gun because they are truly scared, they do not act like they are playing a game. They do not celebrate. These messages show that he was not scared. He was proud. And his leader, a man named Commander Belvino, did not tell him he was wrong. He said the agent did an excellent job. Later, that same leader was given a better job leading another group where more people ended up getting hurt. This shows a very sad pattern. When we reward people for being violent, we get more violence. Then there is the part about the evidence. In any case like this, the car is very important. It tells the story of how the cars hit each other. But the government let the agent drive that car all the way from Chicago to the state of Maine. That is more than 1,000 miles. By the time the lawyers for Marimar could look at it, a mechanic had already cleaned the car and rubbed out all the marks. If you or I did that with evidence, we would be in big trouble. But the agents did not face any consequences. They also tried to keep the videos from being seen by the public. They said the videos were too sensitive. But really, they just did not want people to see what the agents said and did. They cared more about the feelings of the agent who shot the teacher than they cared about the truth. This is what lawyers call a war of stories. The government was not just defending itself, they were trying to make everyone believe a story that was not true. They shot her, they blamed her, they called her a scary name, and then they hid the proof. It happens too often where a story is built after the shooting happens. But Miramar is not alone. There are other names of people who have been hurt in the same way. There is even a page on the internet that lists all the times this has happened. But there is one more secret the government did not want you to find out. This part is very scary for everyone who lives here. 5 days before she was shot, before she ever honked her horn, the government had already put her picture in a special system. They were already watching her. They use cameras called flock cameras. These cameras are all over our cities, and they read license plates on cars. The government used these cameras to watch Miramar for 30 days. They followed her while she was going to the store to buy things for her school kids. They have machines that can recognize faces and track where you are every minute of the day. When the leaders were asked about this, they said they do not track citizens. But the pictures of Miramar show that they do. They have built a giant machine to watch people, and sometimes that machine is pointed at regular people who are doing nothing wrong. When the machine leads to a mistake, the people in power try to cover it up. But let me show you what happens when the truth comes out. In November of 2025, the government suddenly dropped all the charges against Miramar. They did it very quietly. They admitted they did not have any evidence to prove she did anything wrong. The woman they called a terrorist was actually innocent. They did not say sorry, and they did not take away the labels they put on her. But a judge finally said the evidence must be shown to the world. Even the highest court in our country was told the wrong story. Some of the most important judges wrote about the case using the lies the government told. That is very frightening because it means the cover-up went all the way to the top. Miramar is now talking to the people who make our laws. She wants to make sure this never happens to anyone else. She is fighting for justice in court. We all need to know how to protect ourselves. You have a right to be in your neighborhood. You have a right to speak your mind and honk your horn if you need to. If the police ever stop you, you can choose to stay silent until you have a lawyer to help you. It is also good to write everything down and take pictures of what you see. If you see something happening to someone else, you can film it from a safe spot. Your phone can help the truth stay alive. Being a citizen is important, but you also have to know your rights and use them. We must look out for one another. We have to make sure that the people who work for us follow the same rules as everyone else. Every person's life is valuable, and the truth should never be hidden away. We must stay alert and keep our hearts and eyes open so we can protect our friends and our families. The story of Miramar teaches us that we must always ask questions and look for the truth, even when it is hard to find. We must remember that we are all humans who deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. When we stand together for what is right, we make our world a safer place for everyone. Let us carry this story with us and remember to always choose peace and truth over violence and secrets. We can build a better future where no teacher has to fear her own neighborhood and where every person is treated fairly under the law. It starts with us caring and paying attention to what is happening around us. Thank you for listening to this story and for caring about justice for Miramar and for all of us who call this country home.